What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Once again, we are back here in the garage with another vehicle to work on today. Nothing major, nothing that bad of dents or anything like that, but I figured what we'll do is we'll kind of do like a little video tutorial on how to work on this. It's a bunch of hood dents, almost like a hail damage type job, and I figured we'll just take you through how to access the dents, what tools to use, what to look for, and little tricks like that. So I'll show you what we have. It's a 2008 Saturn Vue. And you can see on the hood here, there's a couple little good shots in here. Nothing major, but more like a hail damage type job. So you have one dent there, one there. There's a few others here and there on the car, but another one right there. So that's what I kind of figured we'll do with this one. A little different, just kind of how to access everything. Again, what tools to use, little tricks to make the job easier. So we'll take you along with us and get this thing done. Let's do it. All right, so obviously the first thing to do is get this hood mat off. Now, if this was a really bad hail job where there were tons of dents all over the hood, we would actually take the whole hood off and put that on a stand. But for something like this, there's only a few dents here or there. We can access them by fighting around it, you know, with the hood on. So, but first we got to take this hood mat off. And what you want to do is get a nice little pry tool and just pop out these little clips that hold it in. These clips on this vehicle are actually pretty nice. So they just kind of push in, they pop out really easy. There's other clips on other vehicles that are just a nightmare to get out. You end up breaking a lot of them. So it's good to have a nice variety pack of different clips when you're, you know, have your own business and working on these cars. Because if you break one, you don't want to leave that hole open and give it back to the customer. It just doesn't look good. So usually what I do is just buy a whole variety pack of different size clips and things like that. Just in case you break one, you can replace it. So we'll get the rest of this panel off and see what we have going on here. All right, as you see, we got the hood mat down, and I marked with a paint marker where the dents are. And you can see this one right here is kind of half under the brace and part of it's not. And then the one back there fully under the brace, and the one over there is fully under the bracing as well. So what we're going to do, we're probably only going to use a few tools to access these. The first one, we'll probably use this whale tail here. And what you're going to do is probably just get in there, work this whole thing with this whale tail, you know, tweaking off the bracing, the end there. You can see that tip kind of reaches all around that area. So we'll be able to work that one pretty much with this whale tail alone. Now the other two, if you try to work it with this whale tail, you can see you're not going to have leverage. It kind of just wants to spin around in there. Same with here. This won't do anything, right? So that's where these tools come in. These are from Dentcraft, a little angle bend there, and then kind of a shaved tip on it. But you can see when you put the tool in there, you're going to have a lot more leverage. Every time you move that tool or tweak that tool, you're going to have good leverage. Same with this here. This one we can probably access with other tools too, but this you can kind of tweak and pry off of that bracing. That way it's a little easier to work them. Sometimes when you don't have the right tool, you're kind of fighting yourself and fighting the dent because you don't have the right leverage or the access to it. So that's where, again, some tools are right for the job and others just won't work. But we'll get started on this and get these things done. Let's do it. All right, so one of the things you probably want to do is ratchet down strap the hood. You could work the dents just by holding the hood, but again, you're going to be fighting the hood wanting to open or close, where to get it in a nice locked position would be the best. So let's get that going right here. Now the hood's nice and sturdy, so let's start working. All right, so what I found was it's gonna be easier to work the dent coming from this angle than trying to come over here and just be on the edge of the bracing. I rather put the whole whale tail through it, through the bracing, and then touch the dent that way. The only thing, there's a big piece of caulk right here that we're gonna have to cut through that caulk. This caulking in this car isn't that bad. It's real soft. They just put that there to hold the bracing to the hood itself. But we'll just have to get this tool, you know, use the whale tail tip and just kind of just poke through and cut all that caulk to get access to it. So let's get started. All right, so you can almost see the dent where I'm kind of getting close to the dent and I gotta pop through that caulking there. So sometimes you just gotta cut that caulking away with the whale tail and clear that out. That way you have nice access to it. So now we're gonna start working the dent right now. So little slow movements, moving your tool around to get the right feel, right angle on it, and then you can see, just start working that dent slowly. Very slow movements. Try to get to those deep spots first, work them up just a little bit, and then keep moving around that dent, moving to all those little low spots. Usually when I do these dents, it's in, you know, 2 times or 4 times speed. So you're kind of seeing how long it takes working this little area. And this metal's pretty thin on this car. It's not that nice of metal, just the way it feels here. You can see very, very minor movements. And it's making little tiny, almost outward dents, but you move that all around. That's kind of how you build the orange peel up too, or put the orange peel back to the way it was moving that metal around, but trying to match the rest of the orange peel in the car. So again, just keep getting to those low spots the best you can, move it around. And that's something that you know, you'll just get the feel for as you keep doing dents, where to move to, what spot to hit next. Because sometimes if you work an area too flat, too quick, you'll get a little, like a ridge or a valley behind that dent where you just worked. So you want to make sure you work the whole area up slowly at one time. And you can see it's coming up nice. Once you get towards the end, again, that's where the fine tuning comes into play. You might have to move the light back a little bit further down, get a different angle on it, and then fine tune it from there. And it's a little hard to do with the camera and me doing the dent at the same time, because I'm kind of looking at the same angle the camera is. So I'm literally right next to the camera trying to get a good eye on this. But you can see the dent came out pretty good. Some fine tuning and we should be good to go with that one. Okay, that one came out really nice. Now we're gonna move on to this one that's further back here. And this could be a little tricky when it gets close to this edge here where it's kind of doubled over. I think we'll have plenty of access to it. You could kind of see a little high ridge right here, meaning that's where the metal's pinched together. But we'll get started on this. Like I said, I think what we're gonna do is use this tool here, get this right under that bracing there, and then start working it. So let's see how this one comes out. You can see where that tool is, how it's high right there. So let's start working this one. All right, hopefully you can see this dent from there. You can see it's right there. I put a little paint marker behind it so you'll be able to see where the dent is. I just figured the angle, I'd show you how I'm working it. So we have that that shave tool in there, and you can see we got, just get in that center of that dent and just start working it like that. So just slowly work it up there. There is a little sharp point in that dent, but we're getting a good tool on it. And again, just like the other one, slowly find those low spots and start working them up. And again, once you get to a certain point, you might have to move the light to get like a better angle on it. So right now it looks pretty good where I'm at. I'm not sure what it looks like in the camera. So what I'll probably do is move the light almost like at a different angle and like lower so I can cross check it and get like a closer look to it. So we'll probably do that now. So if you can see, we moved the light, little different angle, lowered it, and I don't know if you can see that little tiny low spot right behind where the dent was. That's what we're gonna work now. So again, you get the different angle on it, get that light a little lower, a little further back, and then you can really fine tune it and make the dent look really good. There you go. Okay, so that one came out really nice as well. But this is something you're going to run into doing dent removal. Kind of happens a lot. So you can see on this panel, you can see a little low spot right there. There's another one right over that other edge right there. And there's a couple other little low spots like that. That's something you'll run into a lot doing dent removal. You know, we picked out those 3 dents on the hood that were really noticeable, and that's what the customer saw. So you could take those dents out, but if you leave those little low spots in the other areas, that's what they're gonna see when you're done. It happens a lot. A lot of car dealerships want you to do that where they're like, just take out some of the major ones. Well, when you do that, you take out the dents, the major dents, and what's left is those shimmers or those little tiny dents. That's what the customer will notice because they're going to be looking at it where you worked, you know, the dent you did. But when they're looking around, they're going to see these other little waves and shimmers, and that's what they're going to see. So it never really works out just doing some of the dents. When I usually do this, I just kind of make sure I hit everything the best I can. And they don't really understand that they're going to see the little shimmers and little waves after you take out the big dent. But that's just something I thought I'd bring out. So we're gonna hit those little waves before we get onto that other dent. Let's go. So we're gonna just finish up these little waves here. Nothing major. I mean, you're already working on the panel. It takes a few more, you know, minutes just to clean everything up and make sure it looks good. So it's something I always like to do, even if, you know, you didn't bill for it or put it in the pricing. You know, it only takes a couple minutes. If it's something major, I would definitely, you know, talk to the customer about it or let them know. But like, that just took a couple minutes. Both those shimmers are out. Now we're good to go and we don't have to worry about them like noticing that, like, hey, I still see something over here. So now the hood on this side is good to go. Let's move on to the other side and get that done. All right, so here is another issue you might run into from time to time. So you can see that dent right back there. Well, right in front of that dent, let me see if I can focus in on it. This was worked before. So you can almost see it's high and low. There's little pick marks in there. And when I went underneath and looked, you can see where it was scratched up from another PDR guy doing the vehicle. So you might run into this a lot where you'll get a phone call to do a car and when you're looking at it, someone else already played with it. This is all up to you if you want to take the job on. I usually do not like to try to fix other dent guys' work. You don't know how bad the dent was, how stretched the metal was, or anything like that. I mean, you can do it, you can clean it up and make it look better, but once someone already works the dent, it's really, really tough to make that look good because that metal's already moved around and everything like that. So that's up to you if you want to take the job on. I always let the customer know, like, someone else worked it, there's not much I could do. I could probably make it look better, and then, you know, kind of feel the customer out, kind of go from there. But that's something you'll run into a lot, especially if you're doing car dealerships and things like that. You'll run into other vehicles that have been done by other dent guys. And, you know, again, each job is different, each dent's different, so that's up to you if you want to take that on. But we'll clean that up. That's nothing that's real major, just little high spots and little low spots. They didn't do that great of a job on that dent. So we can clean that up and make that look good. But let's get going on this and get this dent out as well. All right, so we have pretty much a nice straight shot on this one. Good tool, lots of leverage. And again, we're just gonna start working it slow. Just getting in those low spots. Honestly, wood I probably should have did with this. I just didn't feel like going out to the car. Is I should have got a rubber tip tool on this. I mean, a few pushes and 90% of the dent would have came out, but I'm just using the tool I have here in front of me. Takes a little longer that way maybe, but again, I don't have to run out to the car. I'm already getting the dent, you know. And then that way we have a nice metal tip on it and fine tune it without switching tools. That's one of the things. A lot of times a rubber tip, it gets out a good part of the deepness, but then you have to switch to a metal tip anyway and kind of fine tune everything. So this way you just go from the start. Sometimes it actually just comes out nicer if you just start with a sharp tip, even with a bigger dent or a deeper dent. If you just start with a sharp tip tool, like a metal tip, and just take it slow, the end result sometimes looks better because you're working all those little tiny low spots up very slowly, where a rubber tip kind of can make high spots or crowns, and then you have to tap it down and then rework that and move the metal around. And so sometimes if you just take it slow, take your time, have the patience, and just keep working the dent with the metal tip, the end results sometimes look nicer. Just a lot more pushes, but you can see this one's coming out really nice until my light fell. But it was about time to move that light anyway, like I said, to get that different angle. So let's move that light and get back to work. So you see I kind of just moved the light to this angle. Now it's really hard to get any video of it because it's just a little tiny shimmer. I can't even focus in on what I'm trying to get to, but there's a little line right here. It's actually might be where the other person worked that one, but we're gonna clean up this whole little area. I see another little shimmer right here. So I'm just gonna work it from this angle, getting a different look on it. That way when you cross-check or look from different angles, you don't see any little shallow spot or anything like that, because that happens a lot. You might work a dent and then you get all done and it looks perfect. I mean, you move your light back and you're looking all around and it looks perfect. Then you walk around the car and you kind of see it again, like a whole shimmer. So that happens a lot. It's good to cross-check after you're done doing dents, especially hail damage. Hail damage, I remember when we started, I've been doing this like 28 years, and when I first started dents, we had a hailstorm. And we did the car, pulled it outside, and you almost saw every dent that was there. This was one of the first hail cars I did. So we had to bring it back inside and kind of work it from the other angle. And it's just things you learn over time. after you're done doing a dent, cross-check it, look at different angles, and then that way you can get every little low spot and shimmer. Because again, sometimes the shimmers is what really shows up. When you get it outside and stand back, just that little low spot, that little divot just kind of pops out like a sore thumb. So you just want to make sure you fine tune everything to the best of your ability. But this is pretty much done, so I guess we'll wrap it up from here. All right, we are all finished up. It came out really nice, as you saw in the video. I figured do this video a little differently. You know, normally when I'm doing the videos, the jobs I'm doing take hours to complete. So I think that would be kind of boring to try to do that in real time. This one, I figured do it a little different in real time so you can see, you know, the process of start to finish and the different things you come across, maybe like, again, with other little dents that you find or other work that other PDR guys did. You know, just getting the job done to the best of your ability. And that's really important. Doing each job, no matter how big or how small, to the best of your ability. I remember when I was just starting out in dent removal, I was 2-3 months in doing dents, and I was at a car dealership working, and another dent guy came in, and he came up behind me and was just kind of hassling me, just saying, oh, you're not going to be able to do that, you're not going to get that one, and you know, kind of discouraging me, not trying to help me out. And that's something you never want to do. I'm nowhere near the best dent guy out there. There's so many other better dent guys and more skilled than I am, but I just try to do my jobs to the best of my ability, you know, to my skill set. And that's something you should always do. No matter how big the job is or how small the job is, just do the best job you can. And, you know, keep learning. I'm always trying out new tools or trying different methods or learning things, and sometimes, you know, you might not go with them. You might not like the tool or what you learned. You know, you might just not like that way of doing it, and that's okay. But you should always try to move forward, and again, do the best job you can to your skill set. But hopefully you guys liked the video. I think the customer is going to be really happy with this. You know, it came out really nice, but hopefully you guys liked the way I did this. You know, I didn't know if you would or not, but I figured why not throw it out there and see how it goes. But we'll move on to the next one. We'll do more videos, and we'll catch you next time.